In the silence of dawn, when even the wind hesitates to breathe, the true warrior confronts his greatest enemy, himself. Motivation fades like morning mist, but discipline is the fire that endures long after passion dies. The ancient code of Bushido taught that the blade is not forged in ease, but in resistance. Every strike of the hammer, every spark of pain, tempers the soul into something unbreakable. When your spirit falters, remember this: the samurai does not wait for inspiration. He acts, and through action he becomes unstoppable. The path of Hagane no Ishi, the will of steel, demands that you rise even when the heart whispers, rest. This is not a journey of comfort, but of conquest. Over weakness, over doubt, over the self that seeks escape. So, warrior, if you are ready to carve discipline into your spirit, to build strength when motivation has abandoned you, then step forward. Comment, I rise below. Subscribe to this brotherhood of relentless souls, and together we will forge the unbreakable. Thank you for walking this path with me. When the fire of motivation fades, ritual becomes the unshakable foundation upon which true warriors stand. The samurai understood that emotion is fleeting, like cherry blossoms carried by the wind, beautiful but temporary. To live by emotion is to be ruled by chaos. To live by ritual is to master oneself. The disciplined warrior does not wait for the perfect feeling to act. He acts, and through action creates purpose. When you rise before dawn to train, even when your body aches and your spirit protests, you are performing a sacred act. A declaration to the universe that your will is stronger than your feelings. Every repetition, every breath, every movement becomes a silent vow to never surrender to weakness. Ritual transforms ordinary moments into symbols of strength, where the mundane becomes meaningful and every act becomes a strike at the heart of indiscipline. Ritual is not about perfection, it is about presence. It teaches that consistency, not intensity, forges greatness. The samurai sharpened their blades not once in a lifetime, but every day, knowing that rust gathers on both steel and spirit when neglected. When you anchor your life in ritual, you no longer depend on motivation to move. You move because the ritual itself has become your nature. Whether it's journaling your thoughts, meditating in stillness, or enduring a grueling workout, each ritual becomes a rhythm that aligns you with purpose. The warrior does not ask, do I feel like it? He asks, what must be done? Over time, these small acts become armor against chaos. They preserve clarity when the world demands comfort, and they remind you that strength is built not in bursts of emotion, but in the quiet repetition of resolve. When your emotions falter, your rituals keep you standing. When doubt clouds your vision, your rituals clear the path. The samurai's life was a symphony of discipline. Every gesture, every breath, every bow before battle carried intention. To live by ritual is to live with sacred awareness. It turns the ordinary into art, and the routine into resilience. In a world where most chase fleeting inspiration, you must become the one who moves with purpose, even in silence. Each day you honor your rituals, rising early, training your body, refining your mind, mastering your craft. You affirm that the warrior's strength lies not in mood, but in mastery. Emotion is a wave, ritual is the shore that withstands it. And when you choose ritual over emotion, you no longer chase motivation. You become the embodiment of discipline itself, walking the timeless path of the samurai who acts not because he feels ready, but because duty and honor demand it. In a world that worships noise, the warrior seeks silence, not as an escape, but as a forger. Purposeful solitude is the sacred stillness where the samurai sharpens his spirit. When distractions fade and the crowd's voices fall away, the truth of who you are begins to echo in the emptiness. Solitude is not loneliness, it is the training ground of clarity. The samurai would retreat into quiet temples or mountain paths to confront their own thoughts, to face the chaos within. In solitude there is no one to impress, no validation to seek. only the self, raw, unfiltered, and honest. It is in that silence that discipline deepens and the weak impulses of emotion lose their grip. The one who learns to walk alone no longer fears the emptiness. He learns to draw strength from it. Solitude becomes the mirror in which the warrior sees both his flaws and his limitless potential. To embrace purposeful solitude is to reclaim command over your mind. Most people drown in external noise because silence exposes their truth, their doubts, their regrets, their hidden fears. But the samurai welcomes that confrontation, for it is in wrestling with the self that one becomes unshakable. In solitude, the mind refines itself, like steel in the fire of stillness. You begin to hear your inner voice clearly, the whisper that says, "Keep going," when no one is watching. This space becomes your dojo of the spirit, where patience is forged, vision is clarified, and peace becomes your weapon. Purposeful solitude is not the absence of others. It is the presence of focus, the communion with your higher purpose. Each quiet moment becomes a sacred ritual, a reminder that greatness is born in stillness, not in noise. When you learn to walk in solitude, you carry an inner calm that no storm can disturb. The samurai who trains alone in the rain, who sits in silent meditation while the world rushes by, becomes untouchable. Not because he avoids the world, but because he has conquered his need for it. Solitude strengthens resolve, teaching that true confidence comes not from praise, but from the certainty of knowing who you are. It is in those lonely hours, before dawn, after battle, between chaos and calm, that the warrior's soul is purified. Purposeful solitude transforms emptiness into power, silence into strategy, and isolation into insight. When the world feels overwhelming, withdraw not to escape, but to rebuild. In stillness, the samurai becomes whole again, grounded, disciplined, and ready to face life's next battle with the unshakable serenity of one who has found peace within. Comfort is the silent enemy of greatness. The samurai knew this truth, that the path of mastery is carved not in ease, but in endurance. Discipline over comfort is the creed of those who choose growth over gratification, purpose over pleasure. The warrior rises when others sleep, trains when others rest, and endures when others retreat. He understands that comfort dulls the edge of the spirit, while struggle sharpens it. Every challenge, every discomfort, every test of will is a strike of the hammer upon the soul's steel. To live by discipline is to walk through the fire willingly, to say, "Let the flames refine me, not destroy me." When you embrace discomfort, the cold mornings, the long hours, the unseen effort, you are building not just strength, but identity. Discipline becomes the silent oath that guides your every action, long after motivation fades into the shadows. Discipline demands that you act, not because it feels good, but because it is right. The samurai did not choose the blade because it was easy. He chose it because it required everything. In the same way, the disciplined soul moves forward despite fatigue, despite fear, despite the lure of comfort whispering, "You've done enough." The truth is, comfort breeds weakness. It offers temporary relief, but steals long-term power. The warrior rejects this trap, understanding that progress is born in resistance. Discipline is the art of standing tall when your mind pleads for rest, of choosing structure over indulgence and purpose over ease. Each moment you defy comfort, you temper your will, until your spirit becomes like Hagane no Ishi, steel that bends to nothing. Through this daily sacrifice, you earn freedom, not from struggle but through it. Comfort is the poison that kills potential slowly, while discipline is the medicine that strengthens the soul. The samurai's life was a symphony of hardship and precision. Every routine, every practice, every restraint was a declaration that he served mastery, not pleasure. You must do the same. Choose the cold shower over the warm bed, the focused hour over the distraction, the path that tests your resolve over the one that soothes it. Over time, these choices define you. The world belongs not to those who wait for comfort, but to those who build their will in its absence. Discipline is not punishment, it is power. It is the quiet force that shapes character, commands respect, and builds legacies. When you choose discipline over comfort, you become more than just motivated, you become unstoppable, guided by the timeless spirit of the samurai, who understands that mastery is never found in what is easy, but in what is earned through pain, persistence, and purpose. There comes a moment in every warrior's life when strength alone is not enough. When the body trembles, the mind doubts, and the path ahead vanishes into darkness. In that moment, only one thing keeps the samurai standing: Hagane no Ishi, the unshakable will. This will is not born from comfort or confidence. It is forged in fire and isolation. It is the spirit that whispers one more step when the world screams give up. The samurai understood that the battlefield is not always a place of swords. Sometimes it exists within the soul. Each hardship, each disappointment, each failure becomes the forge that tempers his resolve. Hagane no Ishi is the art of staying unmoved amid chaos, of choosing forward motion when all seems lost. It is the quiet defiance that says, "I will not break," even as everything else falls apart. Unshakable will is not about perfection, it is about endurance. The samurai did not expect victory without struggle. He expected struggle and faced it without flinching. Hagane no Ishi means to remain steadfast, not because the path is clear, but because your purpose is. When pain strikes, you do not retreat. You absorb it, learn from it, and rise sharper. This will cannot be taught through comfort or inherited through words. It must be earned in the fires of persistence. Every time you refuse to quit, every time you rise after falling, you forge another layer of steel around your spirit. The samurai's blade may dull, his body may bleed, but his will remains untarnished. The world bows not to those who start strong, but to those who refuse to stop. The essence of Hagane no Ishi is transformation, the alchemy of pain into purpose, fear into focus, and failure into fuel. It is the unbending commitment to continue, even when every emotion has abandoned you. The warrior with an unshakable will walks through storms with calm eyes, knowing that struggle is temporary, but the spirit endures. His power lies not in his circumstances, but in his response to them. This is the heart of the samurai, to face each trial with dignity, to meet uncertainty with stillness, and to fight without hatred, yet without hesitation. When you live with Hagane no Ishi, you no longer chase strength, you embody it. The storms may come, the world may fall silent, but your spirit, like forged steel, will stand unbroken. Eternal proof that willpower, once forged in truth, can never be shattered. A warrior's words fade with time, but his actions carve his name into eternity. The samurai did not seek glory through speech. He built his legacy through unwavering action. Legacy through action is the understanding that what you do echoes far beyond what you say. Every choice, every disciplined act, every sacrifice becomes a brushstroke in the masterpiece of your life. The samurai lived by the principle that honor was proven, not proclaimed. When he drew his blade, it was with purpose. When he bowed, it was with meaning. To live with this spirit is to treat every moment as sacred, knowing that even the smallest act can shape the future. Your legacy is not written in comfort or convenience. It is written in the silent moments when you chose to act with courage despite fear, to persist despite exhaustion, to move forward when no one was watching. Legacy is not a destination. It is a trail you forge daily through consistency and purpose. The warrior did not wait for recognition. He acted from duty, knowing the true value lies in impact, not applause. When you pour effort into your craft, when you give more than you take, when you live by example, you are leaving behind something far greater than words. You are leaving a path others can follow. Legacy through action means living so intentionally that your deeds inspire even after you are gone. The samurai knew that every strike, every training session, every act of compassion or courage built his spirit into something immortal. The warrior's true fear was not death, but dying without meaning, without having left something behind that reflected his discipline and honor. To live by legacy through action is to embrace accountability to your own ideals. The world may forget what you've said, but it will never forget how you lived. Every morning you rise with purpose. You continue writing your legend. You build your legacy not through grand gestures, but through steadfast consistency, the daily repetition of integrity, effort, and strength. When you lead by doing, your actions become a flame that lights the path for others lost in darkness. The samurai lived so that his way, his do, would remain a guiding force long after his final breath. So too must you act, not for praise, but for permanence. Let your life be a testament to discipline and courage. Let your every action whisper the code of the warrior. Do not speak of greatness, become it. The path of the modern samurai is not one of fleeting passion, but of relentless purpose. Motivation will rise and fall like the tide, but discipline, that sacred fire, must never fade. Each habit, each act of endurance, each quiet victory over weakness shapes the steel of your spirit. You have learned that emotion is temporary, but ritual is eternal. That solitude reveals truth, that comfort destroys growth, that Hagane no Ishi, the unshakable will, transforms pain into strength, and that legacy is not spoken but forged through consistent action. The samurai within you is not defined by perfection, but by persistence, by the ability to stand tall when the world grows heavy, to move forward when the heart grows weary. So rise, warrior, temper your mind like the blade, let your actions speak your honor, and build a life worthy of remembrance. In every challenge, find your forge. In every failure, find your lesson. In every day, find your purpose. For this is the way of the disciplined, the path of those who build greatness when no one is watching. This is your moment to forge the unbreakable. This is your spirit, unyielding, eternal, and unstoppable.